A couple from Maine headed to the Dominican Republic on a mission to return something some children didn't even realize they were missing: the ability to hear.
And while not all the children could be helped, for those who could, it was a life-changing gift. Here's Lucas Cotovecchio again with their stories.
There are 3 million people living here in the capital city of Santo Domingo. The average person makes about $100 a month. Unemployment is estimated to be somewhere around 40%. The odds of having a decent life are not promising. Imagine being disabled. Since we've been here, we've seen people with missing limbs begging desperately for money on the streets. Even more disturbing, a blind man wandering through dangerous traffic, asking for a peso or two to take home. Fortunately, it doesn't have to be this way.
Hola.
Meet 7-year-old Sarianella. She's about to be given a fighting chance. Her ears are unable to register most noise. She relies on sign language to communicate, oblivious to the noisy world around her.
Some of these kids don't know that they can make sound, and that people who have been moving their mouth all these years are making sound.
Sarianella is put through a series of tests. These help the doctors determine how much she's able to hear. The tests show Sarianella suffers from moderate to severe hearing loss. She is an ideal candidate for new hearing aids. Dr. Laura Dennison mixes and sculpts the earpieces that will hold Sarianella's hearing aids in place.
This is the ear molds, and it's a 2-part process.
Through all this, Sarianella is quiet and calm. There's no telling how she'll respond to a world of sound, a world she doesn't even know exists. Watch as the hearing aids are turned on for the first time.
Hola.
Hola.
Oh, mama.
Oh, mama.
Papa.
Oh, papa.
Before, the sound, they see people talking, they see moving a mouth, but they don't hear the sound. So somebody says something to them and they don't realize the sound is there. The sound accompanies that. We take a toy and rattle the toy, and they see the toy rattle. When we put the hearing aid in, they realize it's not only here, it's here.
Up until the day they got their hearing aid, they knew life one way, and from now on they will know life in a different manner.
It's clear Sarianella and the other children are not alone in their transformation.
And I love what I do when I'm down here, and the possibilities that we're giving these kids, you know, and it just blows your mind, and it's changed my life, and I am so much richer because of what these kids give me.
But for Sarianella, the real test is about to begin. The world is a noisy place. We followed Sarianella home to see what this little girl is up against. Home is a one-room shack she shares with her grandmother and 6 brothers and sisters. There's no bathroom, no electricity, and there's a faucet outside for water. But today, there's something extra. Excitement over Sarianella's return. For days, all her family have been told was that something good might happen to her.
Muy desesperada porque ella lo necesitaba y nosotros no podíamos comprarlo.
She's been desperate since they learned that she was deaf, and they knew that the resources will never buy a hearing aid for her.
Sarianella's grandmother says this is nothing short of a miracle.
Well, the main hope right now is that she will be able to speak well and hear well, and they have a better living conditions, be educated and healthy family.
And help herself to a better life.
If we can provide these kids with a way to help them communicate in the regular world, you know, then we can give them a lot more than what they could have otherwise.
Because all of us helped. Now there's a difference in these kids' lives. Now they have a chance.
The School for the Deaf will now work with Sarianella to teach her how to speak, how to become accustomed to a world full of sound. It won't be an easy process, but it'll be worth it. I should know, if it weren't for the gift of sound, I wouldn't be here talking to you. For the last 21 years, I've been wearing hearing aids. As a journalist, since I've been here, I've been trying to figure out what motivates Dr. Fagan, his wife Liz, and the others on the team. They told me that there aren't enough words to adequately describe what it is that motivates them. They said, you'll know it when you see it. For me, that moment came at Sarianella's house. She was having trouble with one of her hearing aids. She wasn't hearing anything out of it. I looked at it and realized that it had accidentally been turned off. I turned it on, and I said, "Hola." Sarianella looked at me, and she had this huge smile on her face. Now I think I know what motivates Dr. Fagan and the others. And I hope that I've at least been able to share a little bit of that with you. In the capital city of Santo Domingo, in the Dominican Republic, I'm Lucas Colavecchio, WGME News 13.
Quite a story, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
It really is. You know, the Fagans say they're going to make another trip, another humanitarian trip to the Dominican Republic next year.
If you'd like to donate used hearing aids or other resources to the Fagans, you may send them to Dr. Fagan's office on 985 Forest Avenue in Portland. The zip code is 04103. You can also call 797-8738.
And if you didn't catch that, the address and the phone number are posted on the Gift of Sound section at our website, WGME.com. So if you'd like to help out, you can check it out, and that's where you can find the address.
This is the stuff vacations are made of: sun, sand, and warm water. The Dominican Republic is a picture of paradise. But leave the beach behind. Travel a short distance inland, and paradise is lost. For most of the island's 8 million inhabitants, poverty is a way of life. All the more reason a couple from Maine wants to spend their vacation in the thick of it.
We'd rather be doing this than sitting on a beach for a week and enjoying the sun, because it's very fulfilling.
Far from the comforts of home in Scarborough, Dr. Roger Fagan, an audiologist, a doctor who specializes in hearing, and his wife Liz, a speech pathologist, are ready to transform the lives of 250 hearing-impaired children. The Fagans have joined a team of 6 audiologists from the United States at the Dominican Republic's National School for the Deaf.
Yo tengo más de ese para ti.
They'll spend 4 chaotic days testing hundreds of children.
We test their hearing, and we determine who can benefit from hearing aids, and can they benefit from 1 hearing aid or 2 hearing aids.
There are a few who are very serious because they're still not sure what to make of it and about the whole experience, and there's a minor fear factor in a few of the children.
It's just a matter of minutes for the doctors to custom fit each hearing aid. Then, a life-changing moment.
Before, the sound, they see people talking, they see moving a mouse, but they don't hear the sound. So somebody says something to them and they don't realize the sound is there. The sound accompanies that. We take a toy and rattle the toy, and they see the toy rattle. When we put the hearing aid in, they realize it's not only here, it's here.
Liz Fagan works with each child, getting them accustomed to their own voice.
Up until the day they got their hearing aid, they knew life one way, and from now on they will know life in a different manner.
It'll take time to adjust to this noisy new world. Every sound will be a new experience.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to WGME 13's Prime Edition. I'm Kim Block.
And I'm Doug Rafferty. The world is full of noise, sounds most of us take for granted. But there are some people who don't even know this world exists, or they don't have the resources to connect with that world.
A couple from Maine wants to change that with the gift of sound. WGME News 13's Lucas Colavecchio traveled with them to the Dominican Republic and shares their story.
Around here, the locals call this La República Dominica. At first glance, the Dominican Republic is a beautiful and vibrant island nation. Each year, thousands of tourists come here to experience the crystal clear water, the warm sun, and the local history. You might have heard that rhyme. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Well, this was his first stop in the New World. At the time, he declared this the most beautiful island man has ever seen. But more than 600 years later, this is an island that is struggling. The people here are among the poorest in the Caribbean. More than 30% of the island's population lives in poverty. But every so often, there is a generous person or group that comes along in the hopes of making life better for at least a few of the people here. And that is what has brought us here.
They are like any other human being, but they're abandoned. No help whatsoever from anybody.
By all appearances, these children are happy, but the reality is the odds are stacked against them. Some have been abandoned by their parents. Almost all live in the barrios, or slums, as we call it. And as far as the Dominican government is concerned, not one of these children exists.
But the reality is there are thousands of us.
Carlos Zameta, a local businessman, says if something isn't done soon, the only life these kids will ever know is one of poverty and despair.
They are handicapped. They live in a very limited world. They see, they walk, but they don't hear.
These students are deaf, the result of meningitis, rubella, and genetics. According to Zameta, being deaf means only one thing in the Dominican Republic.
So if you're handicapped in the Dominican Republic, your chances of having a decent, normal life?
Nil, because you are discriminated against. See, you cannot get a job because you are not complete. You are an incomplete person.
Zameta wants to give these children a chance, with help from some American hearing doctors, among them this couple from Maine, Roger and Liz Fagan.
We'd rather be doing this than sitting on a beach for a week and enjoying the sun, because it's very fulfilling.
The Fagans have joined with 6 audiologists at the Dominican Republic's National School for the Deaf. Their goal is to fit 250 kids with new hearing aids.
We test their hearing, and we determine who can benefit from hearing aids.
Over the course of 4 chaotic days, they'll test hundreds of children. It's quite an undertaking when you consider that most of these kids have no idea what a hearing aid is, let alone what it does.
When I go in and I look at an ear, an American kid will immediately flash back and they'll just be kind of panicked what I'm doing. These kids have, like, I don't know what it is, but they're just fine with it. They just kind of let you just look in there.
Maybe it's because they've got little to lose.
There is no program, official program, or say government support for this kind of situation.
The School for the Deaf survives on private donations. According to the founder of the school, this visit by the audiologist and their promise of new hearing aids is an act of a higher power.
That work is connecting with God. That work is connecting with God.
The audiologists have a more humble approach to their work.
It's a simple thing that we're doing.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, I can fit hearing aids all day, every day in the United States. But it's just different. It's just different. Like the littlest, something so simple makes such a world of difference down here for these kids.
During the test, children wear a headset that's connected to this machine. The doctors use this device to create a series of high and low-pitched sounds. The child responds to the noises they can hear, and the doctors make note of it. Unfortunately, not all the children will have enough of a response. And when the tests are done, some children will have to be turned away.
And all these losses are so profound, you think, oh God, what good am I doing? What good is this really doing?
But while the doctors share their disappointment, they know for every child who can't be helped, many more can.
When WGME 13's Prime Edition continues, you'll see the difference these doctors are making.
Oh, Mama.
Oh, Mama.
Papa.
Oh, Papa.
The new beginning these children are getting, but some old challenges they still face.
It's a routine familiar to most children. 7-year-old Sarianella steps off the bus and walks home like she does every day after school. But today, the familiar is a little different. Everything may look the same, but to Sarianella, it sure doesn't sound the same. Go back just 6 hours earlier when I first met Sarianella. Based on my own experience, her world sounded much like this. Her ears are unable to register most noise. For much of her short life, Sarianella has relied on sign language to communicate.
You're going to get some hearing aids, huh?
no more. Today, she met with some special doctors, American doctors, with the gift of sound.
Some of these kids don't know that they can make sound and that people who have been moving their mouth all these years are making sound.
Liz Fagan, a speech pathologist, and her husband, Dr. Roger Fagan, an audiologist from Scarborough, are among those helping to fit hundreds of children in the Dominican Republic with hearing aids.
The population and incidence of hearing impaired and severely impaired and deaf people here is very high.
Sarianella sits through a series of tests designed to measure her level of hearing. The doctors say she suffers from moderate to severe hearing loss. She's an ideal candidate for new hearing aids.
Okay, sweetheart, you're cooking.
This is the ear molds, and it's a two-part process.
As Sarianella watches, Dr. Laura Dennison mixes and sculpts the earpieces that will hold her hearing aids in place. If she's anything like me when I got my first hearing aids, what is about to happen is both terrifying and exciting. Watch as Sarianella's new hearing aids are turned on for the first time.
Oh, Mama.
Oh, Mama.
Papa.
Oh, Papa.
When you have a chance to do that, to touch their lives like that, it's just such a rewarding experience.
On the bus ride home, Sarianella is visibly overwhelmed. The world is a noisy place. I followed her home to meet her family. On the way, I see for myself what this little girl is up against. And when Sarianella comes home, this is what she comes home to. A one-room shack she lives in with her grandmother and 6 brothers and sisters. There is a faucet outside for water. There is no bathroom. And there is enough food for one meal. Her grandmother calls Sarianella's new hearing aids a miracle.
Well, the main hope right now is that she will be able to speak well and hear well, and they have a better living conditions, be educated and healthy family.
And help herself to a better life.
And because all of us helped, now there's a difference in these kids' lives. Now they have a chance.
In the Dominican Republic, Lucas Colavecchio, WGME News 13. This is a story about 2 girls, Sarah and Odetta. Their lives couldn't be more different, and in some ways, more alike. Odetta lives in Santo Domingo, the capital city of the Dominican Republic, where poverty is the norm. And to make matters worse, Odetta is hearing impaired, virtually eliminating her chances for a productive life. But her prospects just got brighter, thanks to these doctors and Sarah. Sarah Piazzio lives in Scarborough. This rambunctious 9-year-old loves Pokemon and roller skating. Like Odetta, Sarah's world was once limited.
We found out on a Friday. We got the doctor called us, and she had her test and called us back and said that she was profoundly deaf. And we were very much devastated over the weekend, but kind of came out of it on Monday and realized, all right, well, how are we going to deal with this and what are we going to do? And
Sarah was fitted with hearing aids, which she wore until she received a cochlear implant. Now she enjoys most of the sounds the world has to offer. Sarah's old hearing aids were collecting dust when she heard